Surviving High School, Equipment for Living in Mean Girls. The 2004 teen comedy Mean Girls centers on Cady Heron, who enters public high school after being homeschooled in Africa. Attempting to find her place within the variety of cliques at North Shore, she befriends outcasts Janice and Damien, who are from the lowest social ranking. On top of the social hierarchy are the Plastics, Karen Smith, Gretchen Wieners, and their leader, Regina George. Although they think they are well liked, they are actually loathed for their incessant bullying. In particular, their burn book contains photographs of their classmates alongside vicious rumors. When Regina invites Cady to sit at the popular table because she feels threatened by her beauty and views her as competition, Janice and Damien develop a plan to dethrone the queen bees and put an end to the student body's torment. With Cady as an insider, Janice and Damien have advance warning of the Plastics' next moves, giving them sufficient time to interfere with what matters most to the in-crowd: their boyfriends, their friendship, and their hot bodies. However, the more time Cady spends with the popular clique, the more plastic she becomes. In the end, everyone discovers that inner peace results from improving themselves rather than tearing others down. The release of Mean Girls coincided perfectly with my stage of life. In middle school, I had direct experience both with being bullied and then transforming into the bully, similar to Cady's transition. The thesis I argue is, through the consequences that befall the main characters, this film teaches teenagers how to have an outstanding high school experience without compromising their integrity. The ability for rhetoric to help people make sense of the world and respond effectively to situations is a concept Kenneth Burke titled Equipment for Living. Young extends this to cinema. Although Brummett, Lair, and Ott interpret different genres, all three conclude that media bring a sense of order to chaos by giving individuals the information to frame and cope with fluctuating environments. These articles support Young's assertion that the movie messages have the ability to influence an audience's thoughts, attitudes, and behaviors if viewers forge a connection between on- and off-screen dilemmas. Another unstable context is adolescence, specifically the confines of high school, where individuals are trying to discover who they are and where they fit in the social hierarchy. Coming-of-age stories are underrepresented in the Equipment for Living literature. A richer understanding of the influence of Burke's Equipment for Living on a person's identity and behavior can be established through analyzing key scenes from Mean Girls. I am approaching my research from a sociocultural standpoint. Our identities are shaped by the social groups with which we surround ourselves. Meanings, norms, roles, values, and rules are negotiated through interactions with others. The theories I will use to support my claim are groupthink, symbolic interactionism, and face negotiation theory. All focus on the powerful and sometimes negative influence that others have on one's identity, decisions, and interpretations. When people succumb to groupthink, they are willing to sacrifice individual dissent to maintain harmonious relations and stabilize their position within a group. Certain conditions contribute to high group satisfaction, yet unsuccessful decision-making. Symbolic interactionism focuses on how people co-create meaning through conversations. In particular, people's perceptions about objects are constructed through interactions with significant others. Whether an individual is viewed in a positive light in the presence of others is a universal concern, as emphasized in face negotiation theory. People seek status and respect, and their communicative behaviors are aimed at presenting a desirable image in relationships. The first scene takes place after the Plastics have performed Jingle Bell Rock at North Shore's annual talent show. Gretchen is upset at Regina for switching her position in the dance, and Cady explains why Gretchen does not voice her complaints. The meaner Regina was to her, the more Gretchen tried to win her back. She knew it was better to be in the Plastics, hating life, than to not be in it at all. The second scene occurs when Janice and Damien discover Cady hosted a party but did not invite them. Cady says that she had to pretend to be plastic, which includes distancing herself from them. "You're not pretending anymore," Janice retorts. "You're plastic. Cold, hard, shiny plastic. At least me and Regina know we're mean. You try to act like you're so innocent." When Cady accuses Janice of being in love with her, Janice says, "That's the thing with you plastics. You think that everybody's in love with you when actually everybody hates you." The third scene occurs when all the junior girls are summoned to an assembly in the gym, after pages from the burn book are published throughout the school hallways. Their principal suggests that each clique work out their problems publicly. "We don't have a clique problem at this school. Some of us are just victims," replies Regina. However, all the students agree that they have felt personally victimized by Regina. The fourth scene takes place at North Shore Spring Fling Dance. Katie is announced as Spring Fling Queen and presented with a tiara. During her acceptance speech, she speaks about her prize. Why is everybody stressing over this thing? It's just plastic. Could really just share it. She breaks the crown into fragments and throws pieces into the audience. The fifth scene is Katie's narration at the end of the movie. After the plastics disband, she explains her trajectory of identities. I had gone from homeschool jungle freak to shiny plastic, the most hated person in the world, to actual human being. The plastics exhibit many symptoms of groupthink within the first three scenes: cohesiveness, rationalization, the illusion of invulnerability, and insulation. These conditions, while sustaining positive relations within the plastics, lead to biased judgments such as thinking less of other cliques, and flawed decision-making such as ridiculing other students. The plastics are cohesive because every member is interested in maintaining her high social status. By choosing not to confront Regina about switching her performance position in the first scene, Gretchen prioritizes group stability over her personal needs. She does not speak her mind to Regina for fear it would anger her and thus disrupt the group's harmony. In the second scene, Katie rationalizes her behavior when she gives an excuse for why she did not invite Janice and Damien to the party she hosted. Instead of owning up to the fact she doesn't want to be associated with them, she attributes it to her role as a spy, one they had persuaded her to step into when she was first introduced to the plastics. Regina boasts about the plastics' invulnerability in the third scene when she broadcasts that they do not have any inter-clique problems to maneuver. Regina believes that the plastics are infallible and without the need for direction, when, in reality, they are able to be dismantled and would benefit from an outsider's perspective. The plastics are insulated, stereotyping outgroups as inferior freaks, and punishing intergroup dissent with the command to eat lunch alongside others. When I was a member of the popular crowd, we too are victims of groupthink. We functioned as a cohesive unit, prioritizing presenting a united front to sustain our influence above our individual reservations. We stereotyped other cliques as unworthy of our presence. Insulated against the rest of the school, there was no one to suggest our actions were immoral. In the fourth scene, the tiara that Katie receives for winning Spring Fling Queen represents popularity to those at North Shore who gave it meaning beyond its functional purpose, the epitome of symbolic interactionism. The plastic crown represents the top of the hierarchy, just as the plastics are the dominant group at their high school. During her acceptance speech, Katie redefines the tiara as a shared victory rather than a solo accomplishment with her words, devaluing it as flimsy, and her actions, breaking it into pieces and dispersing it into the crowd. On the surface, the tiara looks sturdy, just as the plastics appear invincible from an outsider's perspective. However, upon closer inspection, the tiara can be fractured, just like Katie's aware the plastics could readily divide. Symbolic interactionism is also evident in both of my adolescent roles. When I was bullied, my clothing choices, although originally positive representations of my eclectic style, became objects of disdain through my interactions with bullies. When I was the bully, the concept of popularity elevated in importance. Face negotiation theory explains Katie's final narration. The face she presented reflects the values that her social group honors. When she first moves to America, in order to please her parents, she prioritizes her classes, but her peers describe her studious face as a homeschool jungle freak. Understanding that this reputation will not serve her well as she tries to make friends, Katie engages in restorative face work to rebuild a desirable image. To gain respect from the plastics, she is cold and calculating, and her communication reflects this identity, ignoring people of lower social statuses and using manipulation to get what she wants. Although she has the approval of the plastics, she soon realizes that their values do not match those of the student body, who now despise her. She integrates pieces of each previous identity to please not only a small microcosm, but instead establish a true connection with the entire North Shore population. Like Katie, face negotiation explains my transition from the bullied to the bully. My face was threatened when members of the in-crowd ridiculed my clothing. I engaged in restorative face work to rebuild my image by gaining their respect as a fellow bully. However, after realizing that earning their friendship did not justify threatening the identities of other students, I sought loyalty and connection from different friends. 5 major themes emerge. Number 1. Choose friends wisely. The decision of which social group to associate with is not only a matter of who an individual likes, but it determines who that individual will be. According to face negotiation theory, to gain acceptance within any group, that individual will have to adopt the values the group esteems, whether they reflect that individual's core beliefs or not. After Katie spends time with the plastics, she imitates their destructive actions without even being conscious of the change in her behavior. Number 2, be a leader, not a follower. One of the symptoms of groupthink is the illusion of unanimity. There is direct pressure on a group's members not to express opposing views, but individuals should stand up for their beliefs, even if they are in the minority. Although Katie expresses the unconventional opinion at the Spring Fling dance that popularity is trivial, her comments set in motion the dissolution of the plastics, and with that an end to the complacency regarding bullying. Number 3, do not rely on others to determine self-worth. According to face negotiation theory, individuals present faces that give them value from the social group to which they belong. While trying to secure value, individuals may present a face that is incompatible with their beliefs. Katie and Gretchen derive their self-worth from Regina's approval. They feel miserable because they can never live up to her expectations. Self-worth can only be garnered from within. Number 4, popularity does not correlate with happiness. As Mean Girls progresses, the students at North Shore collectively redefine popularity, as explained by symbolic interactionism. Originally, they hold it in high regard, defining a popular person as someone who has it all: status, money, and good looks. When Katie accepts her tiara for Spring Fling Queen, she tells the crowd that popularity is meaningless and fleeting. Number 5, cliques are overrated. According to groupthink, one of the causes of poor decision-making is insulation. Being isolated from the majority of the student body hurts potential friendships and personal growth. Understanding the totality of an issue occurs only when a person is able to see it from different perspectives. When Katie expands her social circle beyond the plastics, she sees the error of her ways and understands how to be a true friend.